Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Northeast Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. So you look at the jet stream here on Tuesday morning, we're watching this big trough diving into the upper Midwest through the Great Lakes region. That's brought showers and storms to parts of the Midwest. It's bringing in another round of cooler weather to the Midwest, and that is eventually going to bring in some showers and storms to the Northeast region as we get into the later part of the week. Looking at the temperature forecast for the next 10 days, the first 5 days here on the left, again watching this area of cooler temperatures surge into the eastern 2/3 of the country as we wrap up the week. That is again because of the jet stream doing something a bit like this. As we head into the first 5 days of September, though, we'll watch the jet stream kind of retreat back to the north. That is going to allow some warmth to build into the western 2/3 of the country, kind of bring us back to average here in the Northeast region. Looking at the precipitation forecast over the next 2 weeks, we'll focus on the first week here, really watching for, again, maybe some precipitation here as this frontal boundary makes its way through towards the end of the week. Another hot spot here across the Central Plains, but kind of quieting down across the eastern Corn Belt into the Northeast region here as we look at the next week or so. The last 24 hours of precipitation, again, it's been dry here across the Northeast region, but again, watching this frontal boundary kind of making its way through the eastern Corn Belt, that's brought showers and storms to the region. This activity, of course, going to be making its way into the Northeast as we get into the next few days. The last 30 days, percent of normal, it's really been this corridor here that's been hit hard by repeated rounds of showers and storms. As we look at the eastern Corn Belt into the Northeast region, spotty areas of dryness here, no significant areas of drought beginning to emerge here across the Northeast region, but it has been scattered hit or miss as we talk about precipitation over the last week or two. Looking at the satellite picture then here, again, Tuesday morning, we're looking at the infrared satellite picture. You see the very cold cloud tops from this cluster of thunderstorms here riding along the frontal boundary from the Central Plains, parts of Oklahoma through the Ozarks into the state of Illinois. Again, all of this activity, this activity is specifically making its way off to the south, dying out, but as this frontal boundary continues to move off to the east, we'll see thunderstorms again flaring back up across this region over the next couple of days. Looking at the radar picture, taking a look at what's going on underneath those clouds. Again, here's this big MCS making its way south. This will continue to die out over time as it moves off south away from the upper level energy. Here is the frontal boundary, though. You see these showers and storms, the area of low pressure off to the north across Manitoba right now. Cooler air coming in on the backside, and it's along and ahead of this front that we'll expect our next round of showers and storms to flare up. The frontal boundaries right now, as we look at the frontal picture here from the National Weather Service on Tuesday morning, here is that cold front. And again, expecting showers and storms developing out ahead of that. As we head through the next few days, this takes us all the way to Thursday morning. Now, this frontal boundary beginning to exit the Northeast region. We'll watch this next system making its way in, kind of diving in on the backside as we get into the later part of the week for maybe an isolated shower or storm chance as we get into the weekend. We're also watching Tropical Depression 6. This is expected to become a tropical storm as we head through the next few days. We'll look at that here in just a second. But first, the severe weather outlook here over the next 3 days. Again, not expecting much in the way of severe weather, maybe in a couple isolated thunderstorms today. As we talk about the western edges of the Northeast region as we get into the day on Wednesday, then we'll see the better chance for thunderstorms across the region, but not expecting a severe weather threat to accompany this system. Now here's Tropical Depression 6, again expected to become a tropical storm by Wednesday morning. Not expected to impact the Northeast region as it stands now, and I don't see that happening. Again, we're watching this front kind of make its way through, and this is going to help kind of push Tropical Depressions, what will be a tropical storm here, off to the east and away from the Northeast region. Looking at the precipitation forecast then from the high-resolution NAM model, this is going to take us all the way through Thursday. We'll go ahead and we'll step through time, kind of watching each round of storms as we head through the day on Tuesday. Maybe watching for a couple of thunderstorms to flare up here near the Ohio and Pennsylvania border along that front during the afternoon and evening. Then watching this activity slide off from the west to the east. You're seeing some shower and storm activity associated with that tropical depression off the coast as well as we get into the middle part of the week. Wednesday, we'll be watching for this frontal boundary to begin dissecting the Northeast region right here, bringing a chance for thunderstorms to parts of Pennsylvania, New York State first before moving off into the remainder of the northeast region as we get into Wednesday night. And by the time we get to Thursday morning, most of this rain activity probably making its way out of the area, but perhaps still dealing with some heavy rain, across parts of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine as this exits the area. And then as we get into Thursday afternoon, this is that next system we might see making its way quickly through the region here late week, bringing a chance of an isolated shower storm, but much less widespread rain chances with this second system coming in on the backside. The total precipitation forecast here, then taking it through Thursday. Again, heaviest precipitation going to be off to the east and to the north here, where we kind of get some combination of the dynamics here between this upper level system and the tropical depression off to the east, kind of enhancing some of the moisture potential there and getting wringing a little bit more out of the atmosphere as you head off to the north and to the east. As we look at parts of New York State, parts of Pennsylvania, looking at more scattered nature precipitation as we talk about broken lines of thunderstorms along that cold front, kind of bringing hit or miss precipitation to the area. Also going to be bringing in that reinforcing shot of some cooler and drier air as we watch on the backside of this cold front, these dew points beginning to plunge from the 60s and 70s back into the 50s and 60s. We will start to see things kind of return quickly on the backside. You're seeing moisture kind of fill back in by the time we get to Thursday, but then here's this next front starting to make its way in, bringing yet another reinforcing shot of some cooler and drier air. Where are we headed then in the long term, looking at least the next week, if you want to call that the long term? We'll watch this first upper level low make its way through the region. Here we go. Here's the first trough, bringing this round of showers and storms to parts of the Midwest, and then eventually the Northeast region here by the time we get to Tuesday night and Wednesday. We'll watch this kick through the region, watching another kind of reinforcing shot here coming in on the backside. You see that other lobe rotating around. That is the late week front that maybe brings an isolated shower or storm chance. And as we get into the weekend, into early next week, we're going to watch for this ridge to begin to kind of retake control over the western 2/3 of the country. That's going to allow some warmth to build back into not only the western U.S., but parts of the Corn Belt, and then bring us at least back to average here across the Northeast region. I'm not thinking that really we'll be dealing with much in the way of ridging or big warmth here in the Northeast region, at least over the next week or so. Perhaps this ridge continues to migrate off to the east here as we get into the later parts of next week, but uncertainty is pretty high as we get off into that sort of time frame. So talking about precipitation chances then over the next week or so, we'll kind of quickly go through here the first few days. We're watching this frontal boundary making its way through the region here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll see this next system come diving in. There is right here as we get into the late part of the week. This will be Thursday morning, Friday, getting into Friday morning now, watching again maybe an isolated shower or storm. This looks like it would be on Friday, but really going to be struggling to deal with much in the way of moisture there, and so not expecting a widespread rain chance. The best rain chance going to be with this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning frontal passage. We'll then be watching for a disturbance to kind of rotate up and over the top of this ridge into the central plains, bringing a chance for some significant rain to this area over the weekend. And then kind of just watching little disturbances do the same, kind of riding up and over the top of the ridge, bringing a very isolated chance, uncertain, low confidence chance for showers and storms, the parts of the upper Midwest into the Northeast region here as we talk about the weekend into early next week. But really, I'm thinking it's going to be until we get to the end of next week before we see another significant storm system. Perhaps this guy here, we're looking at a week from today. Again, confidence going to be very low, but kind of watching for this next wave to ride up and over the top of the ridge, bringing us another chance for some rain in the Northeast region. So really, as we talk about the Northeast, this frontal boundary here that passes over the next 24 to 72 hours is going to be the best chance for rain as we look at the next week overall. We're looking at the total precipitation here from the GFS ensemble, so taking a look at all of the members here. And what you see here is that first frontal passage, there it is, brings the rain to the area over the next 24 to 72 hours right here. This takes us through Thursday afternoon, Thursday night. Again, watching for the heavier precipitation chances here off to the north and to the east. And then quiet really as we head through the weekend, watching the precipitation begin to stack up here from this disturbance over the central and southern plains. Still quiet across the Northeast until at least we get into early next week. We bring in a chance for some isolated showers and storms, low confidence on the timing of those and the amounts, but it does look like we'll at least be dry as we head through the weekend into the early part of the next week in the Northeast region. The National Blended Model, now this takes a look at a handful of our different models and kind of puts together a blended picture for us, giving us an idea of the pattern overall. We'll take a look here. We'll go ahead and step back through time. Watching this first frontal passage here, getting us through Wednesday and now Thursday. Again, kind of bringing isolated precipitation to this area, more widespread, significant precipitation off to the north and to the east. We see the heavy rainfall expected here over the central and southern plains during the weekend, and then relatively quiet as we now get through Sunday, getting into Monday, and now Tuesday of next week, keeping things pretty quiet across the northeast region. Again, this blending together several different models, so some of the detail is lost, but we also do get kind of a consensus between the different models, and obviously as we get into early next week, low confidence, low agreement on any precipitation making its way into the northeast region. Taking a look at the temperature trends then, again, we'll see cooler temperatures as we start off here on Tuesday morning, watching for a bit of warmth in advance of that next cold front approaching, but there you see the big area of cooler temperatures spill back in. Let's take it back. Here's the first frontal passage making its way through now on Wednesday and Thursday, bringing cooler temperatures to the northeast region. As we get into the weekend now, watching for that reinforcing shot of cooler weather, keeping temperatures anywhere from 5 to 7-8 degrees below average, 5 to 15 degrees below average. Taking things into the early part of next week, again, cooler overall across the northeast region, but as we get into the early to mid part of next week, watching for that ridge to kind of expand across the western two-thirds of the country. There you see it starting to allow that heat to begin to creep back toward the east, keeping things closer to average across the northeast region, but we'll have to watch this area of warmth and see whether it's got legs to move off towards the east as we get into the mid to late parts of next week. We're talking way out in the future, though, about 10 to 14 days. Your high temperatures for the next 5 days, keeping things in the upper 60s to the mid 70s overall across the northeast region today. Tomorrow, mid to upper 70s. Thursday, here's Friday. And then Saturday, that reinforcing shot of cooler air comes in, bringing high temperatures back down to the lower 70s into the middle 80s. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning ag forecast video, and I'll have your next check-in with the Northeast region on Friday morning. Have a great day.